Hello and welcome to this video tutorial. In this video we are going to cover one of the administrator functions, which is the master data. So we are going to start by understanding what the master data is and how to review the global master data, and then we are going to look at country-specific items, so how to add, how to edit, and how to delete those items. So I'm going to start by logging into the SMT. So I'm going to access with an account, which is a country administrator. As you can see here, country admin. And when I'm in the profile of the country administrator, there is a tab here on the top menu, which is the master data. Okay. So here, the master data is the functionality that allows the users to manage all the details of the vaccines and the supplies that are available in the SMT system. So basically, the SMT operates using a global master data, which is managed by the global SMT administrators from UNICEF Supply Division. So this master data, which is the one that you can see here, global vaccines, contains the full list of vaccines that have been pre-qualified by WHO. And we also have a list of global supplies, a list of global producers, and also equipment. Okay, so this list can be reviewed by the administrators in countries, but it cannot be modified by them. This global master data follows the standard international names for vaccines found on the pre-qualification list of the WHO. So therefore, the vaccine names and acronyms that we find on this global master data are in English. So even if the administrator uses the SMT platform in any other language. So for example, here we can see this is kind of like the short name of the vaccine. We are now using the SMT in English. If I come and change the language of the SMT, I start using it in French. The menus have changed, but the name of my vaccines remain the same because, as I said, these are the international standards that we are using for the naming. So now that we understand what the master data is, we are going to review it. I'm just going to switch back to English. And I'm going to start by reviewing the list of vaccines. So as you can see, the list of vaccines is this table that we have here. We can see here in the menu that we have a total of 281 items. It means 281 vaccines in the global list. So we can select here how many rows we want to see at the time. So let's select, for example, 20. So this depends on whether you are using a mobile device, a small screen, a big screen. You can select how you want to see your master list, and then you can navigate the pages by using this button. So you can move to the next page, next page, next page, and like that you can review the full list. Now, if you are looking for specific products, you can also filter. So there is here on the top, we have these filter fields. So let's say that I want to see which HPV vaccines are available in the list. So I can just type HPV and I can see that there is like 3 vaccines listed in the global list. So these 3 vaccines are from different suppliers. We can see the commercial name, the presentation mode, the formulation, the administration mode, and we can also see the presentation in doses per vial. Okay, so we can see that we have 2 GSK vaccines, one which is 2 doses per vial, another one that is 1 dose per vial, and we also have 1 HPV vaccine from Merck. Okay, we can also review the VVM type, the volume. This is the volume per dose as a secondary packed volume. If the item had the diluent. We could also see here the volume of the diluent, and then we can review the price per vial and per dose. This price is expressed in US dollars and is coming from a global pricing list. So it does not mean that this is exactly the price that your country has paid for the vaccine. It's just kind of like a reference value. If this vaccine comes with a diluent, you will also be able to see some details of the diluent here. Okay, you can see there is also some action buttons, but these ones are actually grayed out. So if I try to click on them, if I try to edit or delete, nothing is happening. So that is because I'm now a country administrator, and this is the global vaccine. So this is the list that all the country administrators in all the regions view and use. So of course, if I was to edit this list, I will be affecting the master list of other countries. So this master list, the global, can only be edited, modified by the global administrators in UNICEF Supply Division. Exactly the same logic applies to other types of items, like for example, other immunization supplies. If I click here on supplies, I can see the list of global supplies. So here we can see syringes for dilution, safety boxes, other items. So we have a total of 30 items here that we can review. We also have some items that are not immunization but that are associated to the immunization program, like for example vitamin A, supplementation, even bed nets. So you can here review the list of global supplies. We also have a list of producers. Producers means like manufacturers. So we have a total of 83 global manufacturers that are approved. So you can come here and review the full list of manufacturers, and you can even search for specific manufacturers. If you want to only see manufacturers of vaccines, you can filter, or you can filter by name, for example, and you can review the list. Same thing with the cold chain equipment. So basically we have a list of all the cold chain equipment that is WHO pre-qualified. You can see here we have a total of 158 items. So from here we can review the list. We can filter if we are looking for specific items. Let's say that we just want to look at ultra low freezers. So we can see that we have a total of 15 ultra low freezers. We can see the suppliers, the manufacturers of those items, the equipment model, the storage temperature, the gross capacity, and the net capacity of each item. And then finally, we have something called the master list. And here is where we have a different type of item. This is not a product that we are going to manage, but is the target group for immunization. So we have some standard target groups for immunization that are used globally. So we are talking about, for example, adolescent girls, adult population, live births, pregnant women, surviving infants. And these are kind of like the most used groups for routine immunization. Now, if in your country you are having some specific group that you are targeting for immunization, we have here the space for the country-specific target groups. So now that we have understood what the master list is, how to review the global master list, we are going to see what happens if we need to add some specific product to this master list. The first thing we need to understand is, when do I need to add a product to the master list? So basically, you only need to add country-specific products to your list if there is something that you are managing in your country that is not available in the global list. Now, if you are using WHO pre-qualified vaccines, WHO pre-qualified equipment, it is very unlikely that you will need to add any items. Now, the global master list is regularly reviewed and updated, but it could be possible that with some new items, like for example with some new COVID vaccines, maybe you are already using an item that is approved, either pre-qualified or in the emergency use list from WHO, but is not yet added to the global list. In that case, what you can do is to get in touch with the global administrators of the platform. You can send an email to smt@unicef.org, and you can inform them that there is an item that is a global item, is approved by WHO, but is not in the SMT global list, and they will add it for you because this is an item that is relevant for all the countries. Let us imagine that now there is an item that we are using in our country, but is not relevant for other countries. So this could be also a COVID vaccine, for example, that is not WHO approved yet, or it could be some kind of experimental vaccine. This was the case of the malaria vaccine at the beginning, for example, that it was only being used in some specific countries. Or it could be that it's a vaccine that you are procuring from a manufacturer that is not WHO listed and that you want to add. Okay, so in those cases, you can, of course, first check whether the item is or not in the global list. If you find that the item is not there, you can manually add it. So this is what we are going to do now. I'm going to come here to the second part of the screen where we see like country-specific vaccines, and I'm going to click on the Add button. This is going to open a new window. In this new window is where you will have to enter all the details of your vaccine. So first, the vaccine name. This is usually kind of like the full description of the item, but you can also write the short name. Let's say that we want to add like a new HPV vaccine that is not in the global list. Then we need to enter what we call the designation. So this is basically the short name that is going to show in all the screens for the vaccine store operators. So how do you want the item to show for them? So in this case, we're going to write HPV again. Now, it is mandatory to write the name in English. If you are using the SMT in any other language and you want this item to be called something different in another language, let's say that in French or in Spanish this vaccine is called something else and you want your users to see that name, you can write that different designation here under the French or under the Spanish. Otherwise, if you just leave it as it is, only enter the English one, the same name is going to apply no matter the language that the user has selected. Okay. Then we select the product type. So whether this is a diluent or a vaccine, it's a vaccine. We select our producer. So I'm just going to select one randomly, for example, this one. Then we enter our commercial name. So let's say that this is HPV Japan. What is the formulation? So this is like a liquid vaccine. What is the presentation mode? So it's coming as a vial. Is administered how? So as an intramuscular injection. And we are going to enter here the doses per vial. So let's Assume that this is something that comes in vials of 5 doses per vial. It is very important here that we only enter a number, so we don't enter 5 doses. We only enter the number. Then we select the VVM type. So let's say that this has a VVM 7. And then we have other optional values that we can enter as well. For example, the storage temperature of this vaccine. If it's a vaccine that is being stored in a fridge or working cooler, in the freezers or working freezers, at ambient temperature, or in the ultra cold chain. So let's say that is at +5. I can enter as well the volume. So this is going to help me later when the SMT does the calculations of how much volume I have available in my vaccine store. So I'm going to enter the volume in cubic centimeters per dose. This information is usually available in the packaging. So let us just put a number. If it comes with a volume, with a diluent, we can also enter the volume of the diluent and the name of the diluent and the storage temperature of the diluent. It's not the case, so I'm going to leave it blank. And then I can enter the price per vial in US dollars. So let's assume that this is 20 and the price per dose is 4. If I want, I can add any relevant comments or notes for other users. If not, I can just click Save. Automatically, this item is going to be saved in my list, and I will be able to see it here in the country-specific vaccines. Any other administrator that logs into the SMT platform in your country will be able to see this as well, and the store operators will be able to start managing this type of vaccine. The same process applies if I want to add country-specific supplies. So I come here to add. I will need to enter the details of the item. So the product name is like the long name. The designation is the short name that is going to be seen by the store operators. Then I can select the product type. I can select the number of units per pack, and then the volume, the weight, the price, and if relevant, we can also add a freight cost in percentage. So once I have entered all the information, I click Save, and this item will be saved here under country-specific supplies. Same process for the producers. If I'm procuring items from a producer that is not in the global list, I can just add here as a country-specific producer. I click Add. I enter the full name of my producer, the producer type, whether it's I'm procuring vaccines, safe injection equipment, or other supplies from them, the country of origin, and then if I want, I can also enter like the short name or initials of the manufacturer. For the cold chain equipment is exactly the same. We have the global list. If I want to add country-specific equipment that is not available in the list, I will add it here. So I just click Add. I select the equipment categories. Let's say, for example, an ultra-low freezer. I get like a list of suppliers. So let's say that I want to enter ultra-low freezer from Doulas. Here there is the available models. If I want to enter another one that is not listed here, I can just click Other, and this will give me an extra field where I can actually manually type the name of the model. For example, storage temperature. So we are talking about that ultra low freezer. So it's going to be -70. And then I can enter my gross and net capacity in liters. Once I have finished, I save, and the item will be available under here, country-specific equipment. automatically, when the store operators want to add equipment to their stores, this item will be available in the list. And finally, we have the master list, the target groups. So if we have in our immunization program a target group that is not listed here, we can also manually add it as a country-specific target group. So here I just click on the edit button, click add new target group, and then I can enter the name of my target group. So let's say that we are going to call this target group 60 plus population. If I want, I can enter the name in other languages, otherwise I just leave it in English, and this name will apply to all languages. So I click save, and automatically my target group will be available. So when I'm entering the program data, I will be able to select that as a target group for my country. Once a new country-specific product or item has been created by a country administrator, it is possible to modify the details by using the editing functionality. This process can be carried out by the same user who created the item or by any other user with country administrator rights. So let's say that I come here to the list of vaccines and I realize that this country-specific item that has been entered, the producer is actually not correct. This is not coming from Japan. So I can edit this by using the edit button on the right. So this will open the window with the details of the item again. So I can come to the specific field that I want to edit. I will select the item, or I make any changes that I want. And when I'm sure that this is the correct information, I can now update. The same process applies to all the other items. I can come and edit any supplies, producers, cold chain equipment, or master list that I have previously entered or that someone else has entered. So I just come to the right, I click edit, I realize this should be 210, so I change it, I update. Automatically, these updates will be reflected for everyone in the country. And the same thing for editing the master list. I click edit, I have this item here that I have previously created, so I can click edit, and now I can change it and update. Once the country-specific product is there, it is also possible to delete it. So it can be removed completely from the master list, either by the same user who created the item or by any other user with administrator rights. So for example, if I come to the vaccines again, let's assume that we made a mistake, we added this country-specific vaccine, but then we realize that actually this item is already there in the global list. I didn't need to add it manually, or we are no longer using this item at all. So I want to remove it. The only thing that I need to do is to come here to the right hand side, click delete. The SMT is going to ask for confirmation, and if I'm sure that I want to delete this item from the SMT master data, I just click yes, and the item will be removed from the list. Now, what is very important to understand from here is that the delete functionality can only be used if the item has not yet been utilized. So if a store operator has already registered any transactions associated to that vaccine or that supply, the product can no longer be deleted from the master data. Okay. The same logic applies to all the other items, so I can delete supplies, producers, cold chain equipment, or target groups from the list. So I'm going to show you just how to delete a target group. So here we have this group that we have previously entered. So if I click the edit, automatically I'm going to see here this new button that says delete. The SMT is going to ask for confirmation. I can click yes, and the item is deleted from the master data. Now, the same as with the vaccines, the delete functionality is only going to work if the item has not yet been used. So if there is some information in the program data that is associating a specific vaccination to this target group, the target group can no longer be deleted. If it was a mistake, then the mistake needs to be corrected in the program data, associate that vaccine to another target group, and then we can come and delete the target group from here. So this is all regarding the master data. I hope this video tutorial has been useful, and see you in the next video.